Paul promoting it. You know, it's just like doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad.
I am seeing reports online that Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Jake Paul, Gervonta Tank Davis, the fight is in jeopardy, and it's for a reason that I think you all could believe, but maybe can't believe is happening again.
Joe Rogan has reacted with surprise to reports that the Netflix stream Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Tank Davis exhibition might not happen as planned. What started as another big money boxing event has quickly turned into legal trouble and social media controversy.
If you know the situation, it was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I'm giving my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the...
Reports claim Gervonta Davis is facing new legal problems. A civil lawsuit from a former partner who has made serious accusations. This situation has put his highly promoted November exhibition with Jake Paul in danger. Several media outlets are highlighting the lawsuit and possible arrest rumors that appeared at the end of October, raising doubts about whether the fight will move forward.
And I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just like doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching
it bothers
it
the fuck out of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
Thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to.
Davis has a complicated legal history that's now back in the spotlight. Earlier this year, he was arrested in South Florida on a misdemeanor battery charge, a case widely reported at the time. In past incidents, charges were sometimes dropped or ended in plea deals. These repeated issues are part of the reason why this new case feels more serious to promoters and fans who are worried about the fight's future.
Reports online that Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely...
Meanwhile, journalist Dame Margar wrote on X that the fight is being postponed, saying, "Update, I'm hearing it's postponed. Not sure of the new date, but about 80% sure the November 14th event is canceled." This update suggests that organizers may move the fight to a later date to fix issues and build more momentum. The promotion for Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis has been massive, with millions spent on ads, interviews, and online campaigns. But despite all that, reports say ticket sales are still low. Many fans seem uninterested in the matchup, and this week's response has fueled talk that the fight could be delayed or even canceled.
And when this fight first got announced, I told y'all, the promo, when they start promoting it, it is going to be fire. The promo will be better than the fight, right? Because obviously, I don't like the fight. I'm not a fan of the fight. I cannot stand the decision for Tank to go in this direction, although I understand it, right? I understand it because I understand the business behind it. So I get all of that. But the promo is fire. If you go watch it, the way that is shot, the production of it looks very, very top of the line, top shelf, as you would expect from a company as big as Netflix, which is a $530 billion company. So they have the budget, they have the money to make sure their production is A1. Obviously, as a Tank Davis fan, paying attention to him in the promo, the young man looks in good spirits. He looks like he's in a good headspace, and he doesn't look like he's unhappy to be there, which bodes well for the prospects of him continuing his boxing career, I guess, not retiring. And I think that as he gets closer to the fight, as the fight happens, he'll be in his happy place. And I expect for Tank fans, for boxing fans, to get really good news after Tank Davis and Jake Paul share the ring and they do the post-fight press conference. I think that a lot of people will probably be happy with the outcome of what Tank Davis has to say after that fight. But the promo is fire. It's just a trailer. It's up on the Netflix YouTube channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. Really enjoyed watching that promo. Watched it a couple of times. And as I said, I'm paying attention to the press conferences. I'm paying attention to the build-up, because I feel like there's a chance that could be more entertaining than the actual fight. Although
the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has confused both fans and experts. Many question why Jake would take on Davis when there's no clear game for him. The matchup feels unnecessary and has failed to create real excitement. Even with heavy promotion, public interest remains low, and tickets are not selling well. Fans online are calling the event meaningless, saying it offers nothing new for either boxer. Unlike Jake's previous fights, this one feels unbalanced and lacks direction. Some believe Jake's strategy of chasing unusual opponents may finally be losing its impact. Many also think this event was made for attention, not competition, which explains the poor ticket sales despite weeks of advertising.
Back it up. It's over with, because the fight makes no sense. It doesn't even make sense for Jake. For all the things Jake's talking about doing, it makes no sense for him. Again, money, sure. If it makes dollars, it makes sense, okay, fine. But I want to see Jake in competitive matchups where I am interested in the outcome. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in the outcome of this. I was interested in Floyd versus Logan because there was an idea that Floyd was a little slower, a little older, and Logan would be able to knock him out. If Jake knocks Tank out, so what? What does that do for him? Because he said he could beat Canelo. He said he could beat Anthony Joshua. This one to me, like, I've gotten on board with a lot of Jake fights because they've made sense. Right? To me, they've made sense. Even Julio Cesar Chavez, after he's already beaten the guy that beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he beat Anderson Silva a couple of years back now. This one still kind of makes sense because you're getting maybe a better version of Chavez, and, you know, he's around the same weight now. When you talk about the Tank fight, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But let's take a look at what he said to Ariel Helwani and see how he explains this fight.
Was the next one Tank?
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch, Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back. And then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. But, man, this is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
Again, I just don't know why would this be where you go? Like, the Mike Tyson thing I could kind of understand because it's Mike and it's an exhibition and he's retired. Tank still being in the competitive nature of the sport throws this one completely off for me. And the fact that Jake is like 60 pounds bigger than he is. Right? Like, Mike was obviously far older than Jake, and that was the big knock on that fight. Mike should not have been in there with Jake. Said that many times. Jake has fought so hard against people saying he's bad for the sport. He's bad for the sport. He doesn't actually want to fight or step up or do any of this stuff. And I've kind of had his back when I'm like, no, he is doing what most boxers have done early in their career. But this gives those people more ammo to be like, yeah, bro, look, this is what we're talking about. When we say he's bad for the sport, or when we say that he's doing stuff that doesn't make sense and he's making a mockery of things, this is what they're talking about. And again, I wouldn't have any problem with it if Tank was way past the point where he could fight competitively at his weight class and have fights with guys like Shakur Stevens, or even, again, rematching.
Fans have also raised concerns about the fight rules. It's confirmed as an exhibition with a weight limit of 195 pounds, and both fighters wearing 12-ounce gloves. These terms make it look more like a show than a serious fight. Viewers see it as a promotional stunt aimed at casual audiences rather than true boxing fans. Because of the big weight difference between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, experts believe the rules were changed to keep things safer. Still, most agree that it doesn't make the fight seem fair or meaningful as a real contest.
Tank Davis press conference just went down, and the official rules for the fight have also been announced. So the fight will take place at 195 pounds, so 60 pounds higher than Tank normally fights at lightweight, and lower than what Jake has been fighting at cruiserweight and heavyweight. The fight will also be 10 rounds and 3-minute rounds each. So exhibitions are usually 2-minute rounds, but this will be 3-minute rounds like a pro fight. And 10 rounds is almost as long as a championship fight. They'll have 12-ounce gloves, so 2 ounces larger than usual. And there'll be 3 judges ringside to decide a winner. So unlike normal exhibitions where there is no winner, if this fight does go to decision, they will have scorecards to decide who wins. Now in the press conference, Tank was asked why he's taking this fight and not the Lamont Roach rematch. And he said he's doing what's best for him and his family. The media always switch up on him after one fight, and this is what he wants to do. He also said that Jake is a decent fighter, but taller fighters struggle with shorter fighters, and he's going to frustrate Jake, and after a couple of rounds, everyone knows what's going to happen. Now Jake, he promised to knock Tank out. He said that Tank has holes in his defense, gets frustrated, And we saw what a 135-pound Roach did to him, so he's gonna knock him out. Jake also said that he still wants Canelo even though he lost to Crawford. And he said after he gets through Tank, Canelo's gonna be on his list. And then we had the face-off with a noticeable size difference, but that was the first press conference. And I'm glad there's gonna be a winner.
Fans of Gervonta Davis are divided about his decision. Many loyal supporters dislike that he's fighting a YouTuber instead of a top contender in his weight class. They expected him to focus on championship-level opponents, not crossover bouts made for money. Davis, however, says he no longer cares about people's opinions. Leonard Ellerb, one of his closest associates, said Davis wasn't mentally ready to face Lamont Roach at that time. That suggests he may be using the Jake Paul exhibition as a break from serious title pressure. An easier, high-paying event after months of stress. If true, it explains why he chose a fight that's more about business than legacy.
He said, to tell you the truth, Gervonta Davis couldn't get up for Lamont Roach. And what does that mean? It means that he could not get inspired, that he was not motivated to fight Lamont Roach, that his mind was not in a place where it was like, yeah, okay, let's get it. And he was going to war with Lamont Roach. He was going through the motions with Lamont Roach during the training camp and could never really get himself motivated to really give the best of himself against Lamont Roach. And that probably affected him during training and during the fight. And that is something that can happen, especially if you really look back on what happened with the Lamont Roach fight and all of the ups and downs about that fight being made. Because first, if you recall, he wasn't supposed to be fighting Lamont Roach. The person he was supposed to be fighting was Vasily Lomachenko. You know, the guy that everybody says that he doesn't want to fight, that he didn't want to fight. Gervonta Davis was up and prepared to fight Vasily Lomachenko. So it shouldn't surprise anybody that if he tries to make a fight with Vasily Lomachenko, that fight doesn't go through. Then he tries to make a fight with Lamont Roach. He can't get the fight done for Houston with Lamont Roach because there was all kind of venue problems and drama going on around Gervonta getting a venue in Houston. So they wind up eventually moving the fight to New York City and pushing it back even further. So not only is it a fight where he didn't just jump out of from his last fight that he had and jump into a fight with Lamont Roach, he got held up. And then also during that period of time, he had to spend some time in jail for a parole violation after them. Well, I believe that
money is a major topic behind this matchup. Many believe both Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis are doing it for financial reasons, not competition. Davis has often said boxing changed his life and helped him support his family goals. That clearly motivates his choices. But this focus on money has also led to criticism that he's losing the hunger that wants to find him. Analysts say his recent career path shows he now prefers profitable fights over risky ones that build legacy. The Jake Paul exhibition fits that pattern perfectly. It's more about hype and income than proving skill, which disappoints boxing purists who value competition above money.
And why he's fighting YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul, who has 12 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 7 wins by way of knockout, opposed to fighting against the likes of his peers who are well accomplished and superstars in their own right for legacy fights like Shakur Stevenson, like Teofimo Lopez, like Devin Haney. Why he's not interested in those fights. And he gets real, right? He gets real, and only thing we could do is salute it, right? Because he's saying, I never told y'all I wanted to be a world champion. I never told y'all I wanted to be undisputed. I got into this for myself and my circumstances to escape from my circumstances. And that's real. We can't blame him for that. We hold him in high regard because the statements he's made and misled people when he said he got a hit list that he wants to check off before he retires. And that hit list includes Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, who turned down the fight because of a severe back injury. And then he told the world, he told Champside, it would be great for him to become undisputed. So I think that he had a change of heart at some point in time along the way.
Jake Paul's reasons seem similar. From the start, He's used boxing to grow his brand and show he's more than just an influencer. But fighting someone smaller and more experienced like Davis has made people question his goals. Winning won't earn him much respect because he has a size advantage, while losing could hurt his image as a confident, fearless fighter. Many believe this fight offers more risk than reward for Jake Paul.
Started acting after he made 40 million with Ryan. When he make another 40 plus million with Jake,
he's gonna go make 40 million fighting Jake Paul, and then he's gonna come back and fight Lamont Roach for what? He's gonna come back and fight Shakur Stevenson for what? He's not gonna fight none of those guys.
No, the only way he fight any of them guys, Turkey gonna have to hit him with the Crawford money. Cause that's the thing. You do this for a reason, bro. Like, I get it. You want him to be competitive, but his goal is money. He made 40 with Ryan plus everything in between. Now he get this 40, 50 million plus. He don't even gotta fight no more. So now if you want him to fight Shakur.
This event also reflects a larger trend in modern boxing, unusual matchups designed for headlines. Fans and analysts say the sport is becoming more about spectacle than legacy. Exhibition fights, influencer bouts, and crossover events are now common. The proposed Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight is another example of how business decisions often overshadow real competition. These fights draw attention online, but rarely earn lasting respect from true boxing fans.
Jake Paul will be taking on Tank Davis in an exhibition on November 15th in Atlanta, Georgia, live on Netflix. And this is crazy for multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a cruiserweight, usually fights at 200 pounds. So there's a good 60 to 65 pound difference here. It could also mean that Tank Davis is no longer interested in competing for titles anymore and is cashing out of boxing. You know, there's been a lot of talks that Tank is nearing retirement this year, and he was supposed to rematch Lamont Roach after their first fight went to a draw, but instead of chasing the Roach rematch, instead he takes the Jake Paul fight for money. So maybe this is Tank's last, or one of his last fights. And same for Jake Paul. He just got ranked number 14 at cruiserweight after beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., so he's supposed to be fighting other ranked contenders or top guys at cruiserweight, but instead he's taking a money fight. But I do expect these two to go after each other. Even though it is an exhibition, I don't think it'll just be some boring sparring match. I do think they'll try a decent amount. But Tank, obviously, is a lot more skilled. Jake has a lot more size. But you guys let me know.
Retired champion Carl Froch recently shared his thoughts, saying Jake Paul's boxing path is driven by money, not passion. Froch said Jake seems more focused on paydays and viral fame than on becoming a real fighter. His comments reflect what many traditional boxers believe, that boxing is turning into entertainment instead of a serious sport. Froch's words add to the ongoing debate about social media influencers entering professional boxing. For now, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight remains one of the most talked about yet least understood events in boxing. It brings together the very different worlds under one spotlight, promising a spectacle, but offering little real substance. Whether the fight happens or not, it clearly shows how boxing continues to balance between sport and show business.
And there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my finances. But I'll take the fucking payday, of course I will. And I'll end Jake Paul with one punch. I'd go in there one-armed and beat this guy. He can't box. He's absolutely fucking useless, which we saw last night with Mike Tyson. Talking about Canelo Alvarez. I've not mentioned Canelo Alvarez because it's just laughable. Jake Paul, Canelo Alvarez, can you imagine? I mean, if Jake Paul fancies that and he jumps in the ring with him, I will pay homage to him because fair play, if he jumps in there with Canelo Alvarez, he'll get absolutely fucking destroyed and it will be fast and it will be messy and it will be